How y'all doing, everybody? All right. Thank y'all for having me out. My name is Carney. I'm with the Missing People's Movement. I'm the communications lead, and so my job is to communicate to folk and bridge the information gap within our communities. I'm also the state lead of a group called ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery. And so our organization, we advocate on behalf of those who descend from chattel slavery and Jim Crow. Not only that, but for economic justice for this specific group. And so I had the privilege a couple years back to travel to Duke University and do a research study. And this research study was about extreme heat and how it impacts our community. And what made me want to do that research was because of after Hurricane Katrina, a lot of folks died from exposure from heat. And so I wanted to speak about that really quickly. I want to say, extreme heat is very personal to me. I'm a resident of South Mississippi and have had the unfortunate experience of living through Hurricane Katrina in 2005. And it was one of the most traumatic experiences of my life. My family and I traveled to Pike County because my family's from Macomb, Mississippi, and so we traveled to seek higher ground from the storm. But unfortunately, like someone just said, we couldn't run far enough. Okay, and so those winds left much of the state without power for days. And the temperatures were extremely high, and many died from heat exposure and lack of cooling centers in the aftermath of that storm. And so right now, Mississippi's agricultural ecosystem is extremely vulnerable to climate disasters like Hurricane Katrina. You know, much of our farmers, like Brother Bobby and others, have experienced extreme bouts of heat. And farmers like Brother Bobby, who face extreme bouts of heat, they face dried up pastures. Their pastures are dried up. They have to sell their livestock, and they have to use feed that they stored up for winter months when the heat ruins their crops. And this puts an enormous financial burden on an already impoverished population. And according to a 2020 article by Climate Change Resources, Mississippi has the highest poverty rate in the United States, with nearly 20% of the state's residents living below the poverty line, and with the lowest ranking health care in America. And so the social and economic factors that compound the challenges that are posed by climate change, which it manifests itself right here in Mississippi in the form of extreme heat, it manifests itself in the form of drought, and it manifests itself in the form of sea level rise. And already today, Mississippi averages 25 days a year when heat exceeds dangerous levels, and that number is projected to rise by 100 days annually by the year 2050. And so the severity of droughts is expected to increase again by 100%. And so agriculture and forestry are Mississippi's biggest industry. So the outcome of these intersecting factors is going to be a major consequence for our state's economy going forward. So it not only just impacts low and impoverished communities, it's going to impact our state's economy as well. And so one of the barriers to long-term recovery in our communities is that too many of our folks in our community are uninsured. And low-income homeowners and folks who face physical disabilities, they also come upon these barriers. And so ultimately, what I would like to see, as far as a policy solution, is I would like to see all cooling centers be operable from June 1st to October 1st, and welcoming all of our community members who are in need with water, food, and we don't want no implementation of loitering ordinances in these facilities. We also want to open more 24-hour cooling centers in high vulnerable community areas, which are chosen by members of our organization and not members of our elected officials. All right? And last but not least, we want to mobilize hundreds of non-police city workers from county health departments, health and human services, and other departments to work with community-based organizations to go door to door to do wellness checks during natural disasters, including directly measuring the residents' body temperatures, and we want indoor heat indices and portable held instruments beginning in senior communities so that we can test when heat extends to extreme levels. So, last one, and this is my last thing I want to say, all people with body temperatures of 101 or greater who live in housing with a heat index of 80 degrees or greater, we want those folks to be moved to close stationary and mobile cooling centers with heat indexes that are below 80 degrees. And so that's what we're doing with this microgrid system that we have outside, you guys. It's a portable cooling center. We have an atmospheric water generator that generates water without plumbing. It's solely on solar. And so these units are going to be deployed in our communities when we have natural disasters. So I thank you guys for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.